When we left the court, obviously, we were hysterical. We go home and literally sit there all day, terrified. And she knocks on the door at 7 o'clock at night with a grin on her face. When we answered the door, she was grinning ear to ear, and she's like, "I'm back." Just like that. That's how she came to take our kids. Came in waving a court order. Yeah, waving a court order. And I had to go take the kids in a room and explain to them that they were gonna take them away. And there just wasn't anything we could do. And then they were rushing us the whole time, and my mom kept asking her, like, why won't you let us take them? And she just kept waving this piece of paper saying it says a licensed resource home.
She kept saying the longer we...
She kept threatening to call the cops because we weren't. They're like, "We need a bag. We need to go. We need a bag. We need to go." And I'm trying to explain to my kids what's going on.
The longer we draw this out, the more we're traumatizing our children.
And she kept threatening to call the police, and so we're rushing around just trying to get their bags packed, and they just put them in the car, and I out by the car, I literally begged her. I was like, "Don't split them up," because they couldn't handle that. Sorry.
What were the kids thinking at this point?
They were screaming.
They were crying, and it was a Thursday night, and the next week was spring break. My son had a field trip the next day that he had been looking forward to forever, for months. And then the girls had Easter parties and stuff, and we told them, please don't let them miss school. They've been looking forward to this stuff. And then I told all the kids, if they split you up, to find each other at school, If they got
you
split
told
up.
That was the one piece of advice you could had time to tell them, was that if they split you up, to find each other at school.
Yeah. So the next morning I get a phone call from the school saying, back-to-back phone calls. Rufino hasn't shown up for school, Charisma hasn't shown up for school, Ariana hasn't shown up for school. So I call the school back. They're not here. Rufino's bus has already left. The girls' parties are going on. So I called Fiji. You have to understand, at this point I was still, mad's not the right word. Livid's not.
Highly emotional.
Yeah, it's not even 12 hours old yet, it's the next morning, first thing when the kids are supposed to be at school, 7:30. And this had all happened at 7:30 the night before. I don't think we slept. And so I called Fiji and just went out and said, "Why aren't my kids in school?" Screaming at them. "Why aren't my kids in school? What have you done with my kids? We told you not to let the kids miss school. We've got a field trip that's paid, all this other stuff." And she laughed. Just on the phone, she just giggled, just laughed. She says, "You really talking to me like this? My kids have missed school. My Rufino has missed a field trip. The girls have missed Easter party. Yeah, I'm talking to you." She just kept on laughing. She goes, you don't have the right to talk to me like this," and she hung up on me. We came to find out later that when she came and took the kids, when they were at the point of them removing them from the house, they never had a placement for them. She drove around until 3 o'clock in the morning, hung out at McDonald's, a 24-hour McDonald's.
Yeah, she said
until they could find a foster home to place them.
Well, she said it was between 1 and 2 that she got them, and they were in different counties. It took us until, I believe it was the next Tuesday, to find out who was together, what was going on. They never told us anything. The only other thing that I think really matters right when they took the other kids is the fact that they wouldn't let us see them. DHS just kind of decided that there was a no contact order, and they were going to keep it that way until a judge changed their mind. So it was over 2 weeks before we even had any contact with the kids after they left. The next court date, they assigned a CASA to our case. And I still kind of attribute the end of the case to the CASA worker who really knew the case. I mean, they just didn't really let up until it was, because they knew it shouldn't have happened.
To us, it could have been the same old, same old. This could have gone on for another 6 months. And I mean, she showed up, and she's like, this can't go on any longer.
It just seemed like the court never looked at the case. That I told him it's like such a cattle call in there. I don't know how they could. I don't know how the judge could know any of these cases. It's like they call you in, DHS says something, and the judge...
And there's hundreds of kids. I mean, this judge can't know every one of these cases. It's just too much for one person to handle.
It seems as though DHS is the only flow of information into the court, because there is a guardian ad litem, but she doesn't do anything. She just kind of is another prosecutor that argues the DHS case and doesn't have information that didn't come from that. The judge finally made the guardian ad litem go and interview the kids, because we went to several court dates and the guardian ad litem made several recommendations without ever even meeting the kids. Well, it started to feel like they made a decision early on without any information and then just tried to justify it after. They're relying, it seems to be, solely on DHS, unless they assign a CASA worker, which they did in this case, thankfully.